Oh, shit! This is some fucking National Geographic shit!
Why don't you say so? Didn't even notice. No punches that to roll with. You got to keep me focused. You wanna say so?
Oh, that's a body. That's a body, bro.
What does it feel like?
That's a body, bro.
Goddamn money!
Okay, you know what, asshole? Pull the trigger. My life couldn't get any fucking worse. Yeah, that's right. Pull the motherfucking trigger.
Winter time, all the time, ooh, yeah. Look at the way that I move, swag. Disrespectful and I'm rude, okay?
What the heck, Aaliyah? What's that?
Nothing.
My
boobs.
I literally see it. I'm looking at it. I'm looking at it right now. What's that?
The money.
The heck? Take it back to the wild.
I'm going with it then.
Phone numbers you should never call, part 7. So this one is the phone number. When you call that number you can hear several things. You can hear a creepy recording of a man counting and repeating the numbers 1, 3 and 7, following by a sound of someone calling out your name. And then they tell you what you are doing during the call. They said that they are following your every move. Do you think it's real or just a legend?
Ashley.
Worst school punishments? Part 1. Number 1. Kneeling on frozen peas. It might sound not harmful at all, but wait till I show you what happened. In Asia, they made a student kneel on frozen peas for 3 hours, and when she got home, she posted this online and later got expelled. This was her knees after 3 hours of kneeling on frozen peas. This one would be embarrassing. Number 2. Eating their lunch off the floor. In 2009, a class of 5th graders in New Jersey were disrespectfully punished to eat their lunch off the floor for 10 days while their classmates watched. And this ended up lasting for 10 days before someone told on their teacher.
Creepy stuff that's happened to you lot, part 2. This happened about 3 years ago. I woke up about 7 AM for school as normal and got on with the everyday routine: brush hair, get dressed and eat breakfast. When I was done, I got in the car and went to school. When I got there, everyone was acting like I was invisible. When the teacher shouted my name in the register, I responded and she marked me down as absent. I went to call my dad because I was upset, but I realised I didn't have my phone. This went on for the whole day. At the end of the day, I got in the car and went home. I went to my room to go and lie on my bed when I saw myself in my bed. I screamed and woke up in my bed crying, with my dad sitting next to me saying she's finally awake. I couldn't wake up, and when I asked what time it was, he said it was 4 PM and that I'd missed a whole day of school because I was in a sleep coma. My dad made that term up. But when I went to school as normal the next day, I remembered all the lessons and everything from the day before. I believe that I had an out-of-body experience, but I can't be sure.
These are the strangest graves in the entire world. This grieving mother added a sandbox to her little boy's grave who had passed away unexpectedly. And now his older brother plays in it every single day. This is the gravesite of a boy who died of an incurable illness in 1865. A few hours before he died, he told his dad he was afraid of death because he knew they'd be burying him underground with no lights. So his parents honored his wish and put a window in his tomb. After her daughter died of yellow fever in 1892, a grieving mother wanted to make sure that her little girl was never alone. You see, her daughter was absolutely terrified of storms. So she constructed a staircase that goes down directly into her tomb. Every single time there was a thunderstorm, that mother would go to the graveyard and sit with her daughter for hours, comforting her in her grave.
Bone-chilling discoveries made by explorers, part 7.
In June of 2016, YouTuber Usaf Ahmadi made a particularly frightening discovery. Ahmadi and one of his friends were exploring an abandoned house in Redbridge in the United Kingdom. After spending some time trying to find a way into the building, the two found a ladder that appeared to have bloodstains on it. Probably shouldn't play this footage because it'll get taken down, but I'm going to. Just be warned, it's a little creepy. After looking into the building, Ahmadi sees someone wrapped in a white cloth with bloodstains. Now I know what you're saying. Travis, that's definitely fake. Add a bit of validity, the police were called to the scene and there was an official report filed. Beyond that, the rest of this discovery is shrouded in mystery.
Terrifying ocean facts, part 3. So basically there's a large system of underwater caves in Latin America, and divers ended up finding a bunch of skeletonized human remains, and it ended up being a giant child sacrifice area. So that's terrifying to think about. Also, because there's little to no water flow in these underwater caves, divers can easily get disoriented and think up is down and down is up, and so they'll swim super far down to the cave thinking they're going up, and by the time they realize they've reached the bottom and their mistake, they've run out of oxygen and they have no choice but to just drown to death, which is awful. Also, it takes less than a week for your entire body to be stripped of all the flesh and be completely consumed by all the organisms in the ocean, and no matter how hard you weight down a body, it will inevitably float back up to the surface due to the decomposition gases and be picked apart by seabirds before it pops and sinks back down to the ocean. Also, there's a whirlpool the size of Colorado off the coast of Somalia in Africa, so that's terrifying considering how strong it was. Also, electricity and lightning conducts 50 to 1,000 times faster on the surface of salt water rather than fresh water, and even though we have GPS, boats are very unreliable in their GPS abilities since they oftentimes get lost at sea, where people are forced to cannibalize or just die. So yeah, that's terrifying.
This is why you should never play hide and seek. A mom decided to play hide and seek with her 2 kids. The mom began counting, ready or not, here I come. She begins searching the downstairs kitchen because she knows that they hide there every single time. As she's walking to the kitchen, she starts saying, I wonder where they are. She looks under the table and sees they aren't there, which is kind of odd. She knew they were too scared to go into the basement alone, but she decided to check anyway. They weren't there either. She began to panic. The mom then says, Jordan, Casey, come out now, mommy's not playing anymore. There was no answer. Panic really begins to set in. She decides to call 911 and reaches an operator. She tells the operator what's wrong and the operator sends an officer to her house. Once the officer arrives, he says, don't worry, we will find them. As she's sitting in the living room, she hears giggling and laughing and hears a closet door slam upstairs. She sprints upstairs and says, Jordan, Casey, you worried me sick. She opened the closet door and nobody was there. While all of this is going on, she hears the doorbell ring. She runs downstairs and finds the officer holding Jordan and Casey. The officer says they were hiding in the shed out back. Then Jordan looks at mommy and says, why were you telling us to stay in the shed?